Howdy folks, my name is Bill. I am the proud owner of this 1979 V35B Bonanza behind me. Some of you know me from Beach Talk, where my handle is Silver Wings, and there I've been participating in many discussions, but one of the things I like to talk about is the electronic ignition system that I have on this airplane, which is ElectroAir. It's a high energy electronic ignition system. In this video, I want to talk to you about that system and a little bit about my learning curve that I've gone through getting this system working completely as it should. What I started with on this airplane was the original EA21000 controller. This is about a 2019 model, I'm told. This is called the ignition controller, and it mounts on the cockpit side of the firewall, the cold side of the firewall. It's basically the computer that does all of the signal processing and controls how the spark plugs and when the spark plugs fire on the system. My airplane, up until just a couple days ago, was never able to successfully start on this EA21000 system. There is a new one available now called the EA21000, and the 21000 is a significant upgrade from the old 7000. The new controller is all new components, new boards, new code, the software, and notably the crankshaft angle timing on it is no longer just a potentiometer controlled value. It's just built right into the software now on the new systems. And so the new EA21000 made the difference on this airplane in terms of my ability to start or not. Let me turn the camera around and give you a brief tour of what's under the hood here, and then we'll talk just a little bit more about the specifics of what goes on when you're starting up. So I know there are some of you out there with issues on engine starting with your ElectroAir systems. Probably not many of you, but I'm really wanting to make this video for those of you who are wanting to know more about maybe why you're having problems starting up on the ElectroAir system. So let's turn the camera around. Okay, so here's the business end of my Bonanza. This is a Continental IO550B, 550 cubic inches turbo normalized. Nonetheless, whether you're turboed or not, or whether you're normally aspirated, many of these systems look similar to this. So what we've got right off the bat up here is this unit right here, and this is called a mag timing housing. It has a crankshaft angle sensor in it, which is a toothed wheel with a Hall effect sensor on it right here. That Hall effect sensor has an output wire on it, which we bring back, and it comes right through here to this plug, and then on into through the firewall, where the rest of the wire is collected on that side of the firewall. It's not doubled up and run back and forth on the wire spine up here right next to the magneto. That is not the way this system should be installed. This wire needs to be a clean, straight, minimum length run through the firewall, any excess length collected back here. This is a factory pre-made harness, so it's going to have a little extra length on it for your airplane most likely, and that is the correct way to install it according to the installation manual. We also have the coil packs, which are here. There are 3 separate coils, each coil sharing the spark between 2 different cylinders. So this top coil here is firing your number 1 and number 2 cylinder, and then we've got, how does this split up? I think it's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, just like that. And then on this particular engine, you'll see that we've got the red wires here that are all firing the bottom plugs. All the bottom plugs on this engine are fired using the electronic system. The top plugs, I've got a Bendix 1200 series magneto right here. The upper wires are black. This is a Continental Motors harness firing massive electrode plugs on the top, and the bottom plugs are the fine wires that you can get from ElectroAir. They do have to be gapped for this system. It's a much wider plug gap, and so you just get those directly from ElectroAir. Okay, so as I was just saying a moment ago, I never had any success starting this engine on the ElectroAir system up until now. Initially it was a total mystery as to why it wouldn't even get anything, not the slightest little bit of combustion. There was no spark whatsoever going to the cylinders when trying to start on the EIS alone. I've learned some things from the guys at ElectroAir, and I thought I'd pass those little bits of knowledge along to you here. That previous controller I showed you, the gray box, the EA21000, that was one of their first generation controllers. Like I said, very different in terms of its construction, but also different in terms of software. So this electronic ignition system does a significant amount of signal analysis on the square wave coming off of that crankshaft angle sensor, that Hall effect pickup that I showed you on the crankshaft angle. And the computer is doing a qualitative analysis on that signal in terms of its quality. Every single spark event that this engine undergoes is analyzed for quality, which is an amazing thing, but you know, microelectronics can do amazing things like that. I think that's really cool. And so the problem with that signal, though, is when you're cranking the engine on the starter, you're cranking at a low RPM, and that is where the actual voltages coming off that Hall effect sensor are the lowest, because voltages relative to the speed at which the toothed wheel passes the magnetic sensor there on the mag timing housing unit. So the signal is more apt to corruption and problems when the engine is starting. That's one thing. So the new system remedies that by relaxing some of the qualitative constraints that would have precluded it from firing just during engine start. So the new system is the EA21000 I'm talking about. It's the black box controller. The black box controller is going to give you a more reliable start because it is not as picky about the signal as the old box was. Another one is the minimum RPM threshold that the engine has to get to on the starter before the system is allowed to fire. I think I am correct in saying that the old system, the EA21000, required a minimum starting threshold of 80 RPM. Well, this 550 right here, I've got a brand new Concord battery in this thing, and I say brand new, it's not even a month old. It's in perfect condition. All the wiring is in perfect condition. My starter's in perfect condition, and I'm getting about 70 RPM turning over on the starter, which does not meet the starting threshold for the system. And that, you know, that very well could be the whole reason why it never was able to produce a spark when I was trying to crank. So the new system, the starting threshold has been lowered. I believe the starting threshold on the EA21000 controller is 60 RPM. And so yes, I am meeting that 60 RPM threshold. Turning this 550 over is a big job, and it turns over a little slower than some of the other engines might, even with all the other components in perfect condition. But now we're meeting that minimum starting threshold. That is also combined with the software engineering, the technology, the design behind the qualitative signal analysis that is done. And here I'm going to show you in just a moment. I was really elated when I started it for the first time just a couple days ago out here in front of the hangar, and really I flooded it quite a lot. I had my phone in one hand, actually my right hand, and I had my left hand on the starter button. I do have the ElectroAir switch panel in the airplane, which I highly recommend you have in your airplane also. So basically I had it, I primed it, I had it full rich, I had the throttle cracked open for what I thought was a decent RPM to start, and I hit the starter button thinking, well, here we go. I really doubt a mag would have fired that thing off as quickly as it did. It started just within 3 or 4 blades. You'll see here in just a moment. So this airplane now is running amazingly. It's actually I don't know why, but I've gained 2 knots in speed for the same fuel flow up at typical cruise power settings. I've only got 1 flight on it since the installation, but that's my first data point. Being an aerospace engineer, I'm kind of a data junkie, so I've got about 120 current data points on this airplane in cruise that are all corrected for standard day and as best I can. And I think I'm accurate in saying that we actually are seeing a little improvement in power developed, and I'm just elated with that. So have a look at the rest of the video and hit me up on Beach Talk with any questions that you might have. Nice talking to you folks. Getting ready to fire up the Bonanza here with the new electronic ignition module installed. There it is behind the panel. So we got battery and alternator on, beacons on. We're going to go ahead and just do a normal cold start, prime it, and fire it up here. So here goes nothing. Get our eyes on, we're going to prime it just normally. We're selected left main tank. There's fuel in the left main tank. Okay. The EIS switch is coming on, and here goes nothing. Start. Hot damn. Yes, we started on the electronic ignition, folks. Yes, we did. One-handed even. No hands on the fuel. That was awesome. Woo! Okay, here comes the mag. Mag's on. That was flooded too, buddy. That was a really flooded start. So here's what we got. I'm excited. All right, shut her down. That was awesome. Thank you, Michael Kobelik, and thank you, ElectroAir. That's a 100% success. It's never done that before.